February 2nd, 1959. A coin was flipped, a guy called heads, and the course of American music was changed forever. This is the story of the day the music died. But more than that, it's a story about youth, ambition, randomness, and the moment when chance met tragedy in the most ordinary way imaginable. The Winter Dance Party Tour wasn't glamorous. It was grueling. 24 cities, 3 weeks, January into February across the frozen Midwest. This was the early age of rock and roll when the music was still young, raw, and alive with energy. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. The tour bus had no heat. Temperatures dropped below zero. Musicians suffered frostbite. Instruments cracked. People got sick. But the show had to go on. Because for these young performers, each night on stage was a chance, a shot, a dream that was still being written. Buddy Holly was 22, already a legend in the making. His voice, his songwriting, his glasses, everything about him was ahead of his time. Ritchie Valens was only 17 years old, a Chicano teenager from California who had just turned a Mexican folk tune into a rock anthem. La Bamba made him the first Latino rock star in America. And the Big Bopper, aka J.P. Richardson, an older presence on the tour at 28, was a radio DJ turned novelty hitmaker. He was a new father with a big booming voice and an even bigger personality. By the time they reached Clear Lake, Iowa, the cold had worn everyone down. Buddy Holly had enough. He chartered a small plane to get to the next stop early. He wanted to rest, to do laundry, and maybe finally feel human again. It was a small act of comfort, and it would change everything.
The sky belongs to the stars.
There were only 3 seats on that plane, 1 for Buddy, 2 others to be filled. Waylon Jennings, Buddy's bassist, had a ticket. But the Big Bopper, sick with the flu and miserable from cold, asked Jennings for his seat. Jennings gave it up without a second thought. That left 1 more seat. Tommy Alsop, Buddy's guitarist, was supposed to take it. But Ritchie Valens asked him for the spot. He was tired, cold, and young. Barely more than a kid, eager for a break from the freezing bus. Tommy suggested a coin toss, a simple flip. Ritchie called heads, and it landed heads. He smiled. A small moment of luck, he thought, a win. What none of them knew was that coin had just decided the future of rock and roll and ended 4 lives. The plane, a small Beechcraft Bonanza, took off around 12:55 a.m. on February the 3rd. The pilot was Roger Peterson, just 21 years old. Experienced, yes, but not certified for instrument-only flying in bad weather. And the weather was bad. Snow, low visibility, fierce wind. The plane climbed for a few minutes, then turned. It crashed into a frozen cornfield less than 6 miles from the airport. There were no survivors. Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, the Big Bopper, Roger Peterson, all gone. The news hit hard. 3 of rock's brightest stars gone overnight. It was a loss that felt bigger than music, bigger than celebrity. It felt personal. Teenagers cried. Radio stations played their records on repeat. Parents suddenly understood just how powerful this music really was. Don McLean would later call it the day the music died in his 1971 anthem, American Pie. But for those who knew them, who loved them, it wasn't poetic. It was just heartbreak. And the coin, it was just a coin. But for the rest of his life, Tommy Alsop would carry that weight of that moment, a flip, a call, and the realization that random chance can sometimes feel like destiny. What do we make of something like this? A random moment, a game, a decision made in seconds, just reminds us how fragile everything is, how greatness can be interrupted, how lives, young, beautiful, unfinished, can be changed or ended by something as ordinary as a simple quarter. But maybe that's why we still talk about it, because deep down we understand that life isn't always fair or planned or neat. Sometimes it's just a coin toss, and sometimes it takes a tragedy to remind us what these artists meant and still mean. They gave us songs that outlived them, echoes that still play, and a story we will never forget.